let's keep on trucking with this next part of reacting to Myra West's video.
I should actually be embracing my sexuality more and expressing it in some way, and I'm not sure what way. Hi, baby. He's so cute. It's like another muskrat, but he came right up to me, and I don't even know why.
Dating.
I guess I'm like a princess right now, like a Disney princess. I just attracted him.
Dating is how you should be expressing it. Dating. And it's not just figuring out your own preferences in dating. In like everything besides the intimate parts, but it's also the intimate parts. It's also finding out who you are in the sexual part of a relationship, what you like and you don't like about those parts, what you're looking for in a partner, right? That's important stuff to know and learn. And there's also just skills involved. Like the advice I'd give to a man is, hey, you got the best weapon is right here. It's weird to call it a weapon, but the best tool you have is right here. It's this thing. Women are attracted to men's hands in terms of like sexuality, right? Hugely. Because women will talk about men's forearms, wrists, hands, right? I've talked about this in previous videos where women talk about how they get so turned on by seeing like a man's arms and hands, a watch on a man's wrist. Like things like that are like one of their biggest turn-ons. And what that comes down to is think about it. Think about what women like most in sex. It's foreplay. Almost unanimously, that's what women talk about, liking more than anything. And men, this has been public knowledge for decades. But what does that mean? Why is that the case? Most foreplay occurs with these things. Hands. You're touching each other. You're like all over the place. You're kissing each other. You're building that arousal. Right? It doesn't happen instantly. Even hooking up is not like the movies. It's not like the hub. It's not like the videos you see online. No, it's not always where you just pull out the old schlong, pull out the Badoniker, and start all of a sudden she's sucking it. Typically, there's a lot more build-up than that. Now, granted, having that kind of hookup is fine, right? Like that's going to be fine because a lot of times women are going to want to be treated like that, where it's like, all right, you're my object. Like women will say this. Any guy who's like dated several women have experienced women where they're like, I'm your little. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on YouTube, but I'm your little cum dumpster. I'm your little slut. like they say horrific things. Like most women like to be treated like objects. At times, not all the time, but in the bedroom on occasion. And I don't mean on occasion as like super rarely. I mean like a third of the time they just want, and plenty of times they just want a quickie. They just want some action. Other times they want the romance. They want the slow play. But the slow play ain't nothing like she's talking. She's talking about like the month-long slow play that doesn't really ever occur. And that would be pretty much horrific to deal with. But let's continue.
Well, it's so cool. I actually see these muskrats everywhere. So like, I'm not sure exactly how to express that. I don't know. I think like part of me wants to like figure out how to be more attractive to men as a partner. or try to figure out like why are they like not interested. But another part of me is saying they're not the right ones because I'm happy with myself the way I am. They're not the right person.
They're not interested because you're not showing interest in them. You're putting huge obstacles upon them dating you that they're going to be annoyed with. They're going to be like, why is this person putting up all these walls, creating all these obstacles, making this a lot harder than it should be? Because what you're describing is like anywhere from 20 to 100 times harder than it would be dating 95% of women.
And I'm just really questioning if where. I'm not questioning if the man that I want is out there. I'm questioning where he is. Where can I find him? Where are the romantic, sensitive, beautiful men with good hearts? Like, I mean it. Like,
they're in the friend zone. They are inexperienced losers. They are making videos just like this. They're known as incels typically. They friend zone themselves. They would pursue somebody like you who is never going to date them. Who isn't even interested in the concept of dating. They would rather put themselves in that situation than they also would rather do weird stuff like that than just simply participate in actual dating. It's an illness. That's the best way I can describe it. And you don't want those guys. You really don't, because just like I'm kind of like roasting you a little bit about you kind of failing to understand this huge aspect to dating, or you're just choosing to completely ignore it or act like it's insignificant. These guys are also doing that, but they're doing that to almost all aspects, right? Like, I'm going to be honest. You would be way better off dating a guy who's experienced, who has these expectations of intimacy, because they have a better understanding of dating, of building a connection and keeping that connection long term, than these people who are okay with whatever. Do you really want a guy who's okay with being treated like whatever, who's just a doormat? No, you're going to be horribly unattracted to that guy a couple months in, and you're going to be cheating on him. You're going to be breaking up with him. You're going to have no respect for him. That's what happens to these guys. These guys are nightmares to date. Ask any woman who's done it, who's dated these types of guys.
I've gotten better in my journey because I know that they do exist. They do exist. And I've seen couples where the man is exactly how I want.
No, you haven't. You gotta understand the context. The freaking context. Oh my god, those guys you know who are just like... You're not seeing the reality of their relationship at all, first of all. And often, these guys, it's the exact same thing that I described. Now, these guys don't always start as that, as being this, like, total simp, dork, doormat of a guy, right? Like, there's plenty of guys... Like, you're looking to make a guy a doormat instantly. A lot of guys become doormats over time. And maybe it's because they have kids or whatever, but they allow a relationship. They basically want to hang on to a relationship, so they just slowly get like worn down, nagged down by a woman into becoming a shell of their former self, to just being this subservient simp loser who eventually the woman's going to leave. Eventually the woman's going to cheat on. And even if the woman doesn't cheat on him or doesn't leave him, she's going to be treating him like dirt anyway. Like, it would almost be better for the guy if she left or cheated on him. Because At least that would be an outlet for her hatred. You'd be shocked the amount of relationships that are like that. I don't know how people can stand to remain in those relationships. So these relationships you see, these guys you see who are already taken, unless there are plenty of great guys though. There are guys who understand these like basic functions of dating and attraction and long-term connection, who are totally normal. But those types of guys are frisky. They're they're having a very they're not at all what you're describing.
Where they are. Like, there are men who enjoy watching, like, romantic movies. They exist. They're...
Yes, exactly. Oh my god. I feel like you're saying this, but you're going to take it completely the wrong way.
Really are men like that.
Yeah. I enjoy romantic movies. I enjoy the crap out of romantic movies. More than most people. Like I really like the movie Chasing Amy with Ben Affleck, which a lot of people see that movie as like a little hokey, a little over the top. I love romantic movies. And I'm here saying that like the sexuality part is a huge, enormous part. The intimacy, the affection is a critical part that your relationship basically can't even begin to actually have a relationship. Your relationship can't even function. Relationships are all about trust and love. Like, trust is the most important thing, right? And connection and teamwork. And the intimacy part is so critical. It is so critical. And the thing is, those romantic movies, they almost entirely exist in a complete non-reality. That doesn't mean they don't have value. If you check out my collection room where I got tons of video games, tons of movies on DVD and Blu-ray, guess what you're going to see? You're going to see that I collect multiple copies of the movie Twilight New Moon, which is basically about a like ridiculous, hilariously stupid love triangle. And like the Twilight series, it's basically this like love story, sci-fi, horror, demented B-movie, unintentional comedy. So insane that it's hard to even believe, right? Movies like Knocked Up, movies like there's one other movie. I always say that guys, if you're looking to like, if your woman wants to watch a romantic comedy, watch like Chasing Amy, watch Knocked Up, because they're actually funny. They're the rare actually funny romantic comedies. But even outside of that, there's so much like entertainment value. You will get so much entertainment value out of watching the Twilight movies. Oh my god. The first Twilight is one of the crappiest movies ever made. One of the dumbest movies you will ever see in your life. And it's hilarious. It is like, it has so much B-movie charm. So much incompetent filmmaking and storytelling. You will have a blast. And then the second one, New Moon, is an even worse film. Like, they took one of the worst films of all time and the first Twilight, vampire baseball BS craziness, and they made a worse movie, which floors me, which stuns me to this day. I still can't believe they achieved such an unobtainable goal in filmmaking to make something worse than Twilight in the sequel. Oh my god. It is like, it's genuinely impressive. Because if you told me, make a movie crappier than Twilight, like, hey, we're making another Twilight and we need you to make it crappier than the first, I would say that's impossible. That can't be done. No one has the writing skill. No filmmaker has it in them to accomplish that. And they do. If Twilight knew... I remember the movie reviewer Spoonie said, if Twilight New Moon was a comedy, if like the writer said, hey, this was a joke, we actually made this bad on purpose, then it would literally be the greatest comedy ever made. And it would be. It, like, no question, it would be. And that being said, I also genuinely like romantic movies, like serious romantic movies. Like what I like most about Chasing Amy is, hey, I buy this. I probably because I've dated like bisexual women and been in like not exactly the same situation but similar situations, and like just the intensity. And I like Ben Affleck, even though Pearl Harbor is one of the worst films ever made. But yeah, like there's plenty of romantic films that I enjoy the crap out of, right? Like what is it, Fault in Our Stars? I'm trying to think of other examples. And it's not just like films, but TV shows. Oh man, like it's great. It's absolutely great. I love that stuff. That being said, like, sexuality is a core function of dating, of relationships. It cannot be overlooked. It cannot be devalued. It doesn't, like, affection, basic human affection. Like, I don't get it. You talk about these like romantic comedies like they're the end all be all representation of how dating should be. Then how come in like every romantic comedy they're kissing on the first date, or they're jumping into bed on the first date or second date? Like look at the movie Notebook, which is one of the worst examples of actual romance, just total unreality. What happens in that movie? Am I wrong, or is Rachel McAdams not banging Ryan Gosling before she moves away, or whatever the hell even happens? And then she comes back, then she goes and marries a guy, comes back, cheats on the guy, is sleeping with Ryan Gosling. Like, she's kind of a greasy, cheating slewer. And you're like, you're talking about these stories where people are jumping right into bed with other people, yet you are also saying that dating should be this thing where it takes weeks and weeks, months before there's any physical intimacy of any kind of physical affection of any kind. How you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. You just can't. Like, what are you talking about? The best romances in film are like ones that happen pretty quick, right? Like, there are some. Like, I'm even citing like Chasing Amy, where he builds a friendship with this woman and then escalates it into them dating. But there's other films. I didn't think I'd have to look anything up, but I'm going to look up best romantic films. Best romance movies. That shows up. The Notebook. Oh god, there's some terrible examples. Fly Me to the Moon. Trying to think of one clear example where they're just like hooking up immediately. I'm sure that there's out there like a lot of ones are showing up are these like real recent ones. What the heck? Yeah, like what? I haven't seen Brokeback Mountain. I don't know what happens. I just know that they're in a tent and they bang. Weirdly, no good examples showed up at all. It's mostly like movies that have come out in the last 5 years, like that one with Sydney Sweeney, where she's like at a camp. I don't know what it even is. But regardless, Let's just move on.
And I want to find one of those. And who cares if they're more rare? That's what I'm looking for. I don't know where they are. And because it's so difficult to find, I'm not sure where I'm going to find them or how. And, oh, this is another thing. I don't know if I'm in the right place. Like, right now I'm in the Midwest. Midwest men. Oh, no offense, but they... I mean...
What are you talking about? I can already tell this point is going to be ridiculous. Like, the Midwest, I live in Canada, but I guess technically my family's from the Midwest, like from Michigan. Moved here when I was a toddler. Yeah, the American Midwest is awesome. Like, I've watched a lot of content from people on the East Coast, on the West Coast. People from the Midwest seem a lot more normal and interesting.
You would know if you were here. They're very, I don't want to say the word basic, but like very simple. And that's not a bad thing if that's what you're looking for as well. You can have a happy marriage that way. But these people generally just like hunting, fishing, and beer, and sitting around the campfire or watching TV, and that's life. Or you know, in their boat, and that's life. Going to their job and coming home, and that's life. And they're happy with it, and that's totally fine, no judgment, but that's not what I'm looking for.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I didn't think this was going to take this kind of turn, this kind of, oh my god. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Seriously, like what the hell are you talking about? My goodness. Do you think people in New York don't work hard? These like people you see walking around in business suits? Guess why they're in business suits? Because they're working. Or these people who are in California who are homeless. Is that really a life you want? Like, come on. Like, what life are you looking for? What are you even talking about here? What most people want is just a quiet life with like a good family, and they want good health and maybe a little bit of luck on their side, maybe things to go well. That's all they want. Why are you you're not only overcomplicating dating and adding all these random obstacles, but it sounds like you're also doing that with just the rest of your life. And like, why are you so unhappy with the Midwest? Every video I've seen of yours, you're like out in the woods. What, you want to go to some like coastal area where you think people don't fish on the coast? Do you think do you want to move to a big city? Like, what are you going on about, right? What?
Okay, finally, there we go. Who we got? Give me two real good ones here.
When I went to France, God.
Oh my god.
When I went to France, that culture really called to me. And that culture has always called to me, European culture in general. But France. I went to the parks in France and I saw all of these people, men and women, my age, reading books.
Now they're literally these places in France. I saw just today, actually, randomly, a picture of like Paris, and there's just like tons of like homeless Middle Eastern people. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, I don't know. France, like
lots of books, and I would see like these beautiful men reading books, and just that, how that feels is so different than men here. I don't know, I'm not explaining that, but anyone who's been to France knows French culture. There's something I can say.
No,
is
what are you talking about? That's what everyone says, right? They go somewhere for like a week, and they know the culture. You don't know the culture. What are you talking about? You experience like a blink in the eye of the most probably touristy part of that culture, right? Like, my goodness. If a dude's out in public reading in France, he's probably doing that so he can score. Like, what the hell? What is this? What is this?
in France, it feels more sophisticated.
That's just random douchey nonsense. In America, they call that coastal elitism. It's the illusion that you're more important because you're like in a bigger city. It's meaningless, right? Like, hey, yeah, you can go to Paris and go around some touristy areas and say, hey, that guy looks good, and get this illusion that if you lived there, you would be like, have all these options of all these gorgeous men who are reading books. But that's not really realistic, is it? Like, you don't honestly believe any of this, do you?
Everyone feels more sophisticated. And yeah, I'm generalizing, but in the cities that I went to, they feel more sophisticated, more like mature almost, more intellectual, more thoughtful, more emotional and sensitive. I don't know, that's just kind of what I felt. And then, like, obviously France is known to be romantic, so what I wonder is, should I be in France? Should I be in another country?
Yes. Do it. Go live there for a year. You'll be back. You'll realize it's not what you thought it was. My goodness.
Should I be finding someone in another country? And then it just freaks me out because I'm like, I don't know where I'm supposed to be to find the right person. Which, I mean, people say, like, just pursue your own life and your own life goals and you'll meet them. But my life goal is to find the right person. And so I don't know where to do that. I don't know. I'm freaking out, obviously. You can tell I'm freaking out.
I mean, you don't communicate with men at all. You don't date men. Do you think that would change if you went to France? Do you think in France they don't have beautiful women? Like you should probably look up what like French women are known for. And like compared to American women, like American women are a little heavier set. Your competition is going to be a lot harder in France.
But I mean,
and if you're not willing, if you can't handle dating people in a rural area, an urban area is gonna, all these things you talk about like expectations in dating, they're gonna be ramped up in a very populated area. And that, like like you can go to Paris, you can go to like the city of romance. What do you think that means? Like, what kind of romance do you think they're talking about? Like, you're talking about a way less conservative area of the world. I'm thinking there's going to be a lot more casual sex there. Like, a lot more. My goodness. Wow. And my understanding of Europe is like prostitution is way less frowned upon. And basically casual sex is way more common. So, I don't see how you're coming to these conclusions at all.
Overall, I'm pretty happy. I'm gonna end this video. Overall, I'm relatively happy. Relatively happy. I am living the life. Nothing bad is in my life at this point, which is great. Yeah. I don't have bad things in my life, and I have good friends right now. I'm pretty happy to be single. But I really would like to meet the man, and not even like be in a relationship right now.
Oh my god. Oh my god. You just said it. You just said it. You just said it. You just said the whole point of this whole video. You want to meet the guy. You want to meet this guy that you want to be with for the rest of your life, but you want to friend zone him for years. That's never going to happen. That's insane. Like, you say you have good friends. I really hope that if they're good friends, they're as good of friends as you're saying that they are, that they tell you that's insane. That's not how dating works. That's the worst. That's one of the worst possible paths you could take. Why would you want to put yourself through that? Why would you want to put someone else through that?
To be in a relationship right now, I just want to meet the man and get to know him for months. Like, actually just form a relationship, a real one. Become friends. I would like to meet the person.
It's not hard. It's not even that hard. It's really not hard. But why are you saying you don't even communicate with men? Like, almost at all. And you don't date men. That's adding the hugest obstacles, the biggest walls you could possibly add. And why would you want this, like, months and months and months of friendship? I'm sorry, but no one's going to be down for that. No one but a simpering simp, a guy you would never actually be attracted to, a guy you'd never actually date would ever be down for that. Like, come on. Come on. It's not even hard, though. That's the thing, is it's not even difficult. You can date somebody. You can find somebody and say, hey, well, I want to date you. Or just allow them to pursue you and say, hey, I'm not ready to date. We can spend time together and get to know each other. I think I'll be ready to date soon. Let's be friends for 2 months. You can literally say, let's be friends for 2 months and then ask me out again. Like, I don't want to leave. You need to say this. You need to say these actual words. We can be friends for 2 months and then you can ask me out again. I don't want to put you in a bad spot. I don't want you to, like, necessarily develop feelings. If when you ask me out again in 2 months, if it's a no, then it's a no and we go our separate ways. But let's just, spend time together. 2 months and then you can ask me out again. And then we can go from there. If we have to go our separate ways, we have to go our separate ways. Plenty of guys would be down for that. Like, guys want to get to know women. Guys are also pressured into hooking up early. Hooking up in the first couple dates. Women basically set that standard. And men, if they don't do that, if they don't participate in that, I'm telling you, then they don't stand a chance in dating. Right? I'm sorry, but as a man, if you're going on dates and you're not trying to go all the way, if you're not trying to, like, at least get, like, some hand action, some mouth action by the conclusion of the second date, that woman is going to think you are not remotely attracted to her, that you find her ugly, that you're possibly in a relationship with someone else. They're going to think something's majorly wrong in the fact that you're not trying to make a move. That's the reality. Right? And men have to accept that and act accordingly. We don't have a choice. We don't even have a choice. If we don't, then we'll guarantee never get a third date with whatever woman it is. I don't know, like, you can do this. You can literally do it. There's plenty of men who have female friends, but they keep them at a huge distance. Like, what you're describing is also just friend zoning yourself. You're talking about becoming friends with men, but to where they're almost guaranteed to put you in the friend zone. and never actually pursue you.
Well, the really sad thing that I'm realizing is that this could possibly take until I'm 30, 35. I may not
Yes,
meet the
yes.
for another 5 to 10 years.
It's not just that. There's a strong chance, if you're going down this path you're describing, that it will never happen in your life. There's a strong chance it will never, ever happen in your entire life. Screw 30, 35. Never is a realistic outcome here.
Like,
It's important. It should be obvious.
for someone who wanted to meet the person in high school and be high school sweethearts, and then college and be college sweethearts, or maybe meet them at 21 and get married. No! 26. I mean, it's partially because I've made bad choices in my life. And the bad choices is I attach myself to the wrong people, to the people who I'm begging to love me, when I need to find someone who actually loves me and stop accepting crumbs. And get out of relationships sooner if I'm being mistreated. But I'm such a romantic, where when I feel like I've met someone who I have a connection with, I just want the relationship to work. Anyway, this is so much, but yeah, I think I said it, that like, I realized that there's less romance in the world than I thought. And sure, people will rub that in my face and be like, what did you expect? Blah, 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 blah. You just live in romance novels and romance movies. And yeah, true. I did watch a lot of romance movies growing up and read some romantic books, but why are those so unrealistic? They're just about love.
They're because they're unrealistic. Because they're exaggerations. Because they're fiction. What do you mean? Like, you're dead wrong about this. Your viewpoints on dating are entirely wrong and out there. They're wild. You're like I said, you're wildly outside of the social norm. So that's why they're wrong. These aren't just like stories about romance. No. They're exaggerated stories that are intentionally exaggerated to appeal to very lonely people.
Is love unrealistic?
Your idea of love is unrealistic. Very unrealistic. Sorry, but I don't get it. I don't get it because so much romance stories are entirely about the beginning of the romance. Also known as what most people in society consider the best part of any romance that they've ever had is the beginning, like, couple of months. And that's what these stories are centered around. And that's weird that that's specifically the part of, like, dating and relationships that you have such a skewed perspective of, that you're refusing to even participate in. I'm shocked. Like, I get that that's the part that these things would mislead you on and give you so much of these false impressions and ideas, but for you to actually, like, not be able to connect those stories to reality is pretty out there. To not, like, apply them to situations you've been in and apply the filter of actual real life people and scenarios. Because that's really the appeal, right? Like I said, I like romantic movies, but that's because I can relate to certain aspects of them. Now, most of the things happening are unrealistic. Like, a lot of these things act like, oh, you're just gonna find somebody, you're gonna stumble once or twice in dating them early on, and then it's just smooth sailing forever. That's insane. That's wildly false. No relationship is like that. Relationships have ups and downs, tons of conflict, tons of work. That's the reality of relationships. That will never not be the case in any relationship, right? Unless it's like people in their 90s who don't have enough time or energy to bother to have anything besides like, hey, we get along, oh, I love you, you know? But actual people with actual lives and personalities and, like, no, it's nothing like that.
I guess maybe. Like, I actually even thought this, like, why do I even feel like I deserve, like, in the grand scheme of things, like me as one person in 8 billion people, why do I think that I deserve to find the person for me and have that beautiful love story? Like, of course I want it, but what if it just doesn't happen for me?
It probably won't, and you definitely don't deserve it. No one deserves to find some magical, mystical, perfect person for them and to have a perfect relationship. First of all, that doesn't even actually exist. There isn't that person out there. No person is perfect. No relationship is perfect. You're never going to find perfection. But also, not only do you like baseline have to accept that before you can even begin to rationally think about dating, but you need to be like several steps beyond that, where it's like you need to understand that it's going to be very difficult for you to even find somebody who, like, well, for you it'd be a miracle for you to find somebody who even like matches 50% of what you're looking for. For most people though, who have like realistic expectations, they'd be very lucky to find somebody who's like 80% of what they're looking for. But you have to understand, you're going to have to accept that people have major flaws and you're going to have major disagreements. You're not going to get along perfectly. You're not going to agree on everything. You're not going to be exactly what they want. They're not going to be exactly what you want, right? Like, who are you? That's another thing I want to say. Who are you? Like, I'm sorry, but what do you bring to the table? What are you even offering a relationship? Right? And I say this because you're describing wanting to like friend zone a guy for a long time, wanting this guy to put himself out there, to have these feelings for you that he completely ignores and that go unignored by you. So you want a guy to endure that for you. For nothing but your sensibilities, for your idea of how things should be. And yeah, what makes you so special? What are you even bringing to a table, bringing to a relationship? Because what it seems like is you're bringing a total lack of experience and perception, that dating you would have tons of false ideas of what dating is like and what dating should be. And what like love is, what connections are. It seems like your idea of love is that every element of dating needs to line up exactly with what you believe the ideal of that aspect of dating is. And that is such a horrible attitude to have for dating. Because dating's teamwork, it's a collaboration. Love is a two-way street. It's not all about you.
I don't like saying that. Like, I just thought that, like, if I wanted it bad enough, that it was gonna happen at some point. But there are people, sadly, people in my YouTube comments who my heart goes out to you. You never meet the one. You say you're like 65 and you never met the one. You never met the person that you were looking for. I can't handle that. Sorry, I'm on rollerblades.
It's because it doesn't exist. It will never exist. It literally doesn't exist for any person on the planet. It never will, right? That's an insane and outright stupid requirement to have. If that's like your requirement to have a successful relationship, you're just dumb. You're just insane. Wow. Like, what? No, nobody has that. No one on the planet has that. What people have is they understand that that doesn't exist, that they don't have that, and they accept that they don't need that. No one needs that. No, like what you do is you find somebody who you're compatible with, and you and that person, you accept each other's flaws and you elevate each other, and you be positive, good people who love each other and care for each other and choose to be happy. It's not this romantic, goofy nonsense where you find your soulmate, this person who's just made for you, who's just this perfect reflection of you, and just boom, it's perfection. You get together and it's just perfection forever. No. It's literally nothing like that. That's insanely far from any reality that anyone exists in.
On a dock, so I'm getting tripped up. But yeah, that's rough. I mean, I don't know. I'm still gonna want it. I'm gonna want it. And I'm not gonna feel guilty for wanting it. It doesn't mean that I'm incomplete or that I'm extremely unhappy. It just means that I know what I want.
Oh my god, no it doesn't. You don't know what you want. It actually means you don't know what you want. Right? Yes, like everyone on the planet wants this ideal, perfect relationship. Everyone wants that. Everyone has their preferences and wants perfection. But anyone with a rational thought in their brain understands that's never going to happen. They adjust their expectations to meet the reality of the situation that they're in, that we're all in. Oh my god. But for you completely refuse to accept that. And you allow your misconception, your lack of understanding to further create a lack of understanding of the entirety of dating and connections and love and affection and intimacy. It interferes. I can't think of the term. It informs your entire perspective on dating, and it's terrible.
What I want, I know what I want. I can want a man. I want a love story. I want my partner. That's a normal thing to want. And yes, I'm being very defensive right now because a lot of people say bad things. But yeah. Okay, it's getting dark now. Bye. Why can't I just have a relationship, start with someone where it's just completely factual? Just very open, very honest, very direct.
Factual and honest and direct. What do you where you're gonna run into that exact issue is dating. You're gonna run into that exact issue if you date guys who read these romance novels and buy into this non-reality. Guys who pretend to guys like male feminists and weirdos like that. If you want honesty and reality and facts, where you're gonna get that is gonna be guys where they're like, hey, I want to pipe you down. You know what I mean? Guys who are very clear about their intention and their feelings, and they're going to be wanting to build a connection with you, and they're going to be making moves. They're going to want to progress things. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't want
what are you talking about?
Games. I don't want someone to play games with me. I don't want to not know whether or not they're interested in me. I don't want to be trying to form.
What are you talking about? You're talking about friend zoning a guy for months. That is the ultimate playing games. You want somebody to not play games with you, but you want to be at all times being able to play games with men, acting wildly outside of the social norms of dating, putting guys through the absolute ringer, making them take all kinds of risks with their feelings, their emotions, with their love potentially. To just put that all on the line for the hopes that maybe you'll date them in the future. But you don't want, yo, no, I don't want somebody who plays games with me. I want to be able to play games till the cows come home. My, oh, what? It's just, this was going well early on in this video, but it just keeps getting worse.
Write sentences to get them to reply to me. I just want something that's so, like, easy and simple because we're both just so open and honest with each other. But people in this dating game, they expect you to play a certain game usually, often. You have to flirt the right way, you have to be fun in the right way, you have to give the right first impression. Like, where? I mean, this is like, sounds like my other video, but where is that authenticity in dating? Like, where is the meaningful connection?
It's in people hooking up. It happens all the time. It happens very naturally, very easily. The thing is that people aren't just leaving out an entire aspect of relationships when they date. They're actually being honest with how they feel and what their expectations are and what they're looking for in a relationship long term. It's actually you who's being dishonest.
I haven't found it. Where, I mean, you know, we're like, why is it so hard to just be open and honest with each other, even in rejection? Like, when I dated a couple years ago, I would give each man like a rejection text if I wasn't into it after I met him. I only went on a couple first dates, but like if I wasn't into it, I would say like how, like, different things that I liked about him and, you know, different ways I thought he was great. And then I would like let him down gently and say like, I'm not really feeling those romantic vibes. Just such a respectful, nice, open and honest text. And I would try to leave them with something positive. And often they would not reply. And that...
Why would they reply? Why would they care? Why would they give a crap? Where are you going? What does this have to do with anything?
What was that? But like, basically that I have entered dating trying to be so authentic and so intentional, and I don't know if other people are this way. I don't know how genuine other people are. I don't understand. And I'm just doing app dating. Another thing I wanted to touch on, but I didn't touch on it, or I touched on it a little bit, but not enough, is that I'm really, 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 really struggling with my social anxiety.
Man, this is like popping a ton of ads near the end here. League. Professor.
So much with dating. Because a car just honked at me and I'm not sure why. Maybe they were saying, don't rollerblade at night. Or maybe they're saying, ooh, rollerblader. I don't know. But don't honk at me. I don't know what that means. Okay. So my social anxiety has been this massive, massive hurdle. Huge, massive problem in my life. And I've overcome it and fought it in so many ways. And it's a constant battle. Constant battle. But the one thing I cannot overcome so far at 26 is my fear of men. Fear of men. I am.
Yeah. And like, how is not dating and not communicating with men overcoming that fear? Like, men are half of anyone you're going to socialize with. So you're saying you're fighting all this social anxiety, but you're not towards men? What? Please make it make sense.
Terrified of men. Terrified of men. Not like a, oh, they're going to attack me and kill me terrified, but a terrified as in, I'm not even sure. And I was asking myself today, why am I scared? Why? Is it the fear of rejection? I think mainly it's the way anxiety works with most things. It is simply that I don't have experience with men, especially men who I am attracted.
That's why you should get experience. That's why you need to get out there and date more. And date more seriously. Date with intention. Be open to building a connection. I'm not saying you gotta like sleep with any of these dudes. I'm saying like cuddle, like hug, like maybe even kiss. Oh no, 26. Kiss, maybe a kiss. Maybe on the second date, a kiss. One, like a quick one. I don't like.
Did too. Ever since I was a child, whenever I had a crush, I would hide from the crush. I would not seek out the crush, I would hide from them. And that's not good. Like, that's not gonna get me into a relationship. And I just had such limited interactions with men in romantic ways because dating was forbidden. And like, nothing ever happened between me and boys ever. I just never gained experience. Like, I made a comparison the other day. You know how nervous you were for your middle school dance and you danced with your crush, or maybe you had your first kiss in middle school or high school or something. Usually that's the case. And how nervous and awkward you were with those girls. Or boys. That's me now. Because
And your solution is to do nothing and just expect Prince Charming to drop out of the sky and decide to be your friend for months and then date you. How are you even pursuing that? Are you like frequently making male friends? How are you pursuing even that like ridiculous idea? Because you're saying you're terrified to even talk to men at all. What is this? What is this? I get it, it's like a disorganized, you're popping on the camera, you haven't thought out that thoroughly what you want to say, but at the same time, what is this concluding to? Like, where are you going with this?
that's the amount of experience I have with men now. But it's not so cute.
Why is your solution to not gain more experience with men? I don't get it. I really don't. Like, this is gonna sound crazy, but and this is I'm only gonna give you this advice because I think it will help you. Because I think it will change your entire perspective on everything. Is next time you're like interacting with a guy who you're attracted to, just pull him into a bathroom and blow him. And then just never talk to him again. Just that's it. Just do that. Sounds crazy, but I think maybe it would help you. Like, maybe it would at least get your like mind into like thinking of like what, I don't know, maybe it would help you overcome your fears and obstacles. Like, I don't know what's going on with you.
Cute. For some reason, it's not attractive. No, it's that's not what I'm even trying to say. It's getting in my way because dating and going on dates with people feels worse than a job interview. It is the most terrifying, most horrible, most awful thing that I can put myself through. I hate it. So imagine like entering a date where you're just like dread.
What? How? How do you feel this way? Like, I've gone on dates with socially awkward, like women with social anxiety. I've had to carry dates on several occasions, right? Like, most of the time the woman's carrying the date, whereas she's supposed to be talking anywhere from like 60% of the time to 75% of the time. So typically a woman's going to carry the conversation of the date. But there's times where women just are incapable of doing that. So you as a man should also have it kind of in your arsenal to be able to, for you to do that, for you to carry the flow of the date, the conversation, build the connection, do kind of all of it. And yeah, it's bizarre that she's never dated a guy who can do that, who can make it a really fun, awesome experience, right? I can't imagine myself going on a date with anyone and it going terribly bad. I don't know if I've ever gone on a bad date. Right? I mean, I've gone on dates with people where there's tons of red flags, where I would never go on a second date with them. Where there's just no, where the woman's done things to make herself terribly unattractive or like terribly unappealing. And often that's just with her being too flirtatious, being too into partying, having too wild of a past, right? And it's just off-putting. Or they're just like immature. They have the like mentality of a high schooler. They're just like often they're talking about like some weird drama they have with some other woman or some nonsense thing, some weird negativity, immaturity shines through. I've experienced that plenty of times, but even in that happening, I've always had a blast. I've always made the best of it. I've always been like, all right. I've experienced that like 10 minutes into a date where it's like, all right, well, that was one of the least appealing things a woman's ever said. I will definitely never be dating this person. I will likely never interact with this person again after today. But we're on a date. I'm going to get to know this person. I'm going to like make a friend. Not a friend I'd ever hang out with again. But, you know, I'm going to have a good time. And I'm going to make sure they have a good time. This will be a good time all around. And it was. Right? Like a very positive, fun time. And I've also had a blast with people who are wildly socially awkward. People who are both, not only are they socially awkward, but they're not even into any of the same things I'm into. They're into like weird, like rando stuff that is like very specific to like the community they live in. That's just nothing that I'm into or know about at all, right? I've had that and it'd still be a good time. I've had that and the person be like very hung up on the fact that things didn't work out. So I don't even know how she's going on all these dates that are just total disasters and such like some of the worst experiences of her life where she dreads the very idea of going on a date. I don't even know how that's possible. I don't even know how you have a bad date. My camera's autofocusing the ceiling. Come on. What is going on with this light on my computer? I think it's because her video's so dark. It's not reflecting on me.
Getting it so
like it was earlier.
And so scared. Butterflies in your stomach. Your brain is completely shut off because of the panic response. You can't think of any words. You don't want to be there. Like, even the fact is, like, when you're more attracted to the guy and the more handsome he is, the less you want to be there. Like, the more you want to run away from him. I mean, this is in movies. I hope you can understand that a little bit, that like if you are really, really crushing on someone or really attracted, you just want to run away. But that does not serve you. That does not serve you. And I've tried to battle this. I've battled so hard to get through it, and I can't.
Well, of course you can't, because what you've described in this video, which this is like one of your more recent videos, of which you've made a lot talking about dating. I haven't watched them all, so maybe some of the assumptions I'm making about you are a little bit off. But what's your overall like thesis is here? Your main point is you're coming up with justifications for you not to interact with men, not to date men, which is only harming your ability to have a successful dating life or find what you're looking for. And ultimately what it comes down to is what you're looking for is this weird idea of perfection that doesn't actually exist. You need to drastically change your expectations and your standards of dating, or you're gonna, I don't know, if you can't do that and you continue to refuse to do that, then what you should do is you should Google the price of cats in your area, as you're going to probably buy somewhere between 6 to 10. Well, you're going to buy more than that, but the regular amount that you're going to have for most of your adult life is 6 to 10 cats. Look up local veterinarians, stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why you don't choose the path of gaining experience, because that experience will give you more knowledge. It will make you more comfortable. It will give you a better expectation of actual dating. And I don't know why you dread dating so much. I genuinely don't. Because like I said, I've never gone on a bad date. Never. I can't even imagine how it would happen. Honestly, this is going to sound crazy, but I would go on a date with you. I don't know where you live in the Midwest, probably way too far away. But I guarantee you, if you and I went on a date, it would change your entire perspective on dating and what it can be, and what kind of guys are actually out there, and what it's actually like to date a guy who's intellectual and thinks about things and is thoughtful and loving and caring and has goals and accomplishes those goals. And it would just change your entire worldview, right? Because that's kind of what I am, and that's why I decided to make YouTube videos, is because a lot of this stuff is just stuff that I think about, and that's almost everything. Not just like dating, but literally everything. There's so much time in the day, and my brain's always going. It's also always going when I sleep. I have very frequent dreams, and in those dreams, my brain is like actively engaged. I'm thinking about things, comparing things to other things, coming up with creative ideas. I mean, especially when dreaming, talk about creative ideas. Some of the dreams I had are wild. But yeah, like there's tons of great people out there. None of them are perfect. No one is perfect. I think you're just not dating though. Like, I want to say it's mostly you is the problem, but you're also just not even dating. So you're not even giving yourself the opportunity to be the problem. You're just refusing to participate. You're being that scared girl who runs away from her crush. And you're refusing to accept that as an adult, you got to put yourself out there, and you got to be developing crushes all the time. And you got to kind of open yourself up to developing crushes outside of this weird fantasy ideal Ryan Gosling ridiculous non-realistic man that you're dreaming of. Because I guarantee you, women out there's no women that are anything like the women in those romantic comedies. No, absolutely not. Like, women are very often lying, cheating, manipulative. They want to change men for the worse. They're controlling. They're hateful. They withhold, in long-term relationships and stuff, they'll withhold the children from the man. They'll be the scummiest pieces of scum on the planet, right? And it's like super common. Like, millions of women, like most women, are like that, right? So it ain't ideal for men either at all, right? So you can't expect it to be ideal for you. You can't expect perfection for yourself when it doesn't exist for anyone.